All right, so you know that feeling you get right when you start thinking about Dublin?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're planning a trip.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just letting your mind wander a little bit.
Oh, right.
And suddenly you're just faced with like a million different lists of must-do things.
I know.
And it just gets so overwhelming.
It's too much.
So fast.
Yeah.
Well, think of this deep dive as like your own personal Dublin decoder ring.
Exactly.
So you shared a really interesting mix of information with us, like everything from personal recommendations from people you know to what like all the travel gurus are saying.
Yeah.
And we've kind of taken it all apart to find like the truly essential experiences.
Yes.
So our mission today is to like give you the shortcut to being really well informed about Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
So you come away not just knowing what's there,
Yeah.
but feeling like genuinely ready to experience it.
Right.
And like what's so fascinating to me is just the sheer variety.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, of course, we'll touch on like the really iconic spots you expect, like the Guinness Storehouse, St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yeah.
But we're also going to get into some like wonderfully peculiar things.
Yes.
Like a tree that seems to be eating a bench.
I know.
And you might even be surprised to hear that Dublin has like its own set of beaches.
Exactly, yeah.
So get ready for your personalized deep dive into like the best of Dublin.
Okay, let's get started by unpacking like those truly iconic experiences.
Okay.
Like for so many people visiting Dublin, the Guinness Storehouse is almost like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, totally.
It's consistently the city's like most popular attraction.
It's huge.
It's huge. And you think about it like,
Yeah.
how does a brewery become such like a central landmark?
Yeah.
It speaks to something more than just a drink, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not just about like seeing where the black stuff is made,
Right.
Like you wander through this impressive building at your own pace, learning about the history, the brewing process, all that. But the real magic, as you know,
Yes.
happens when you reach those tasting rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, the gravity bar.
Of course.
Like that panoramic view of Dublin with like a freshly poured pint.
Yes.
It's almost like a cinematic moment.
It is.
What do you think makes that view like so integral to the whole Guinness experience?
That's a great point. I think it elevates it beyond just like a brewery tour,
Yeah.
It connects the drink to the city itself.
Right.
It offers this shared perspective, this sense of place, while you're enjoying something that's so like deeply associated with Dublin.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see the range in ticket prices.
Oh, yeah?
Like from around 20 up to 50 euro.
Wow.
It makes you wonder what accounts for that difference.
Right.
Is it simply access to like different areas, or are there like specific experiences bundled in that might appeal to different interests?
That's a good question for you to think about.
Right.
If you're planning a visit and the source material like wisely points out the value of booking online.
Oh, yeah.
Not just to secure your spot, but like potentially to save some money too.
Sure.
Every little bit helps, right?
It does.
And then there's the Stouty experience.
The what?
Where for an extra 25 euro, you can actually get your selfie printed on the foam of your Guinness.
No way.
What do you make of that blend of like tradition and modern gimmickry?
Wow. It certainly reflects a desire to create a highly personalized experience,
Yeah.
and a shareable one.
Right.
It's like a fun contemporary twist on a very traditional product,
Yeah.
Whether or not it's worth the extra cost is a personal decision, of course, but it definitely adds a unique talking point to your visit.
It does.
Now, shifting gears to another Dublin icon, St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Right.
This place has stood for centuries, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Founded all the way back in 1191.
Wow.
Its sheer longevity really underscores like the enduring role of religion and history in shaping the city, don't you think?
Absolutely. And it's more than just old.
Yeah.
It's the largest cathedral in all of Ireland.
I know.
And just like a stunning example of English Gothic architecture.
I love that style.
Me too. Those dramatic pointed arches.
Yes.
Those soaring vaulted roofs. And that 141-foot spire.
It's beautiful.
Just designed to inspire awe.
Right.
When you stand inside, surrounded by all that grandeur, you can't help but feel connected to the past.
It's powerful.
What strikes you most about the architectural style?
It's like the scale and the intricate details all working in harmony.
Right.
The way light filters through the stained glass.
Yeah.
The craftsmanship in the stonework. It's a testament to the skill of like artisans from centuries ago.
That really is.
And the history isn't just in the stones.
Right.
It's woven into the stories. And even like the language, like the origin of the phrase "to chance your arm" being linked to like a feud within the cathedral walls. It's crazy. Those little anecdotes really humanize these grand structures.
They do.
It makes you realize that they were once like the stage for very real human dramas.
Exactly. It's those human stories that make history truly engaging.
Yeah.
And the tip to try and catch a choir performance is wonderful.
I bet the acoustics in a space like that are just
incredible.
incredible.
Plus, the suggestion to visit St. Patrick's Park right next door offers like a moment of tranquility.
Yeah.
And like a different perspective on the cathedral's impressive facade. And, you know, if you're using a Go City Dublin Pass, remember, entry to the cathedral is included.
Oh, nice.
Which is a great bonus.
It is.
Okay, so our third iconic stop takes us to Dublin Castle.
Dublin Castle.
The place has witnessed so much change, hasn't it?
So much. From a medieval fortress built in 1204 under King John.
Wow.
To its later life as like a Georgian palace.
I know, it's amazing.
It's like the story of Dublin unfolding in its very structure.
It is. What do you think is the most significant transformation that Castle underwent throughout its history?
For me, it's that shift from like a defensive stronghold to like a center of power. And then later a more ceremonial role. You know, it reflects like the changing fortunes and priorities of the city and the country. And the guided tour seems essential to really grasp that evolution.
Totally.
It takes you through the state apartments down to like the Viking excavation site.
Wow.
Imagine a glimpse into Dublin's much older roots.
Yeah.
And then up to the Gothic Revival Chapel Royal.
That's amazing.
It's a journey through time within like a single location.
It is.
It truly is a layered history.
Yeah.
And the source material strongly advises booking those tours in advance.
Right.
Which underscores its popularity.
It's very popular.
But beyond the main tour, you know, to the castle grounds hold some real treasures.
They do.
Like the Chester Beatty Library, with its remarkable collection of rare books and manuscripts from across the globe.
That's incredible.
It's fantastic, and it's free, which is great, you know, for a castle visit.
Yeah.
And then there's the Dublin Garden, marking the spot of the original Black Pool.
Oh, wow.
That gave Dublin its name.
That's cool.
It's a subtle but, like, powerful connection to the city's beginnings.
It is. Okay, so we've covered those big three.
Yes.
But Dublin has so much more to offer.
It does.
If you're willing to explore beyond those obvious ones.
For sure.
So let's delve into some of those unique and perhaps unexpected finds.
Okay.
Starting with Ivey Gardens.
Oh, this sounds like a real hidden gem within the city.
Yeah.
Like 8.5 acres tucked away behind the National Concert Hall, dating back to 1865.
Okay.
It's described as picturesque, but it's more than just like a pretty green space, isn't it?
Yeah.
It boasts tree-lined paths, woodlands, fountains, even a waterfall in a maze.
No way.
It sounds like a place that was designed for discovery.
Yeah.
What kind of atmosphere do you imagine it having compared to a more central park like St. Stephen's Green?
I picture it as like a much more tranquil escape.
Yeah.
Perhaps less crowded, a place where you can really unwind. And the variety of features.
Oh, yeah.
Like the American Garden and Rosarium suggest like a thoughtful design, almost like a series of smaller, distinct worlds within the larger park.
Right.
And the tip to enter from Hatch Street for a quieter experience is like invaluable local knowledge.
Yeah,
you know, it's those insider suggestions that can really elevate a visit.
Exactly. And it highlights the idea that even like well-known places can offer different experiences depending on how you approach them.
I agree.
And the mention of summer festivals like Taste of Dublin, you know, so suggests it's a dynamic space that integrates with the city's cultural life.
Right.
It's not just a static oasis. It's like a living, breathing part of Dublin.
Now, for something truly intriguing.
Okay.
The Hungry Tree.
Oh, yeah.
When I first encountered that in the source material, I had to reread it to make sure I understood it correctly.
It's a strange one.
It is.
It's certainly a memorable image.
Right.
An 80-year-old London plane tree on the King's Inn's law school grounds.
Okay.
That has over time literally grown around and seemingly swallowed a park bench.
Like, how does that even happen?
It's a powerful visual reminder of nature's persistence.
It is. What do you think makes this particular tree such a popular attraction? I think it's the unexpectedness, right?
It is.
It's a bit surreal.
Yeah.
This, like, everyday object being consumed by nature.
Right.
It sparks curiosity and a bit of wonder.
I agree.
And the fact that it's become a popular photography spot makes perfect sense.
Of course.
It's a truly unique photo opportunity.
It is.
The visiting hours are quite generous, too.
Okay.
And the tip to go early for a clear shot, you know, before it gets too crowded with all the photo seekers, is a practical piece of advice.
Right.
Combining it with, like, a walk around the King's Inn's grounds seems like a nice way to extend the visit.
For sure.
And, like, appreciate the surrounding architecture.
Yeah. And it reinforces the idea that sometimes the most compelling experiences are the quirky, unplanned encounters.
I agree.
And speaking of things you might not immediately associate with Dublin, the fact that it has blue flag beaches might come as a surprise to some.
It definitely surprised me.
Really?
I know you don't automatically think of a capital city as having, like, high-quality beaches.
You don't.
But the source mentions Sandymount Strand, which is perfect for, like, a leisurely walk. Dollymount Strand on North Bull Island, which sounds fantastic for hiking and bird watching.
Okay.
And Sea Point Beach, a popular spot for local swimming.
Nice.
It adds a whole other dimension to a city break, you know?
It does. It offers a chance to escape, like, the urban environment.
And enjoy the coastal air.
For sure.
And the practical tips here are essential for making the most of those visits. Like checking the tide times for Sandymount, as tidal patterns can significantly affect the beach.
Right.
And considering water shoes for Sea Point, given its, like, rocky nature, will definitely enhance the experience. It shows that even a seemingly simple activity, like visiting a beach, requires a little local knowledge.
It does. All right, so moving from the coast back to the city's cultural heart.
Okay.
The National Gallery of Ireland is a must-see for art enthusiasts.
Yes.
Founded in 1854, it houses a collection of over 16,000 works.
Wow.
Spanning from the 1300s to the present day.
That's incredible.
That's an incredible breadth of artistic expression.
It is. Are there any particular periods or styles that the gallery is especially known for?
Well, it has significant holdings of both Irish and European art, and the fact that it includes masterpieces like Caravaggio's Taking of Christ. Wow.
And Picasso's Still Life with a Mandolin.
Nice.
Highlights, like, the international significance of its collection.
Yeah.
And just knowing that there are two entrances on Marion Square and Clare Street is a useful practical detail for navigating the area.
Right.
And the suggestion to visit on a weekday morning to avoid the larger crowds that tend to gather, you know, on the weekends is a classic tip for any major cultural institution.
It is.
Plus, the mention of the Courtyard Cafe sounds like a perfect spot to take a break and reflect on the art you've seen.
Yeah.
It's about pacing yourself.
Right.
And making the experience more enjoyable.
Absolutely. It's about balancing cultural immersion with moments of relaxation.
Yeah.
Now, for a museum with a very different feel, the Little Museum of Dublin.
I love that name.
I know, it's so cute. This sounds like a truly unique and engaging way to learn about the city's history.
It really does the concept of a museum that tells the story of Dublin through everyday artifact.
Right.
Donated by its people.
Yeah.
Over 5,000 items.
Wow.
It's so compelling.
It is.
It offers a much more personal and intimate glimpse into the city's past.
Yeah.
It's history told from the ground up, isn't it?
Exactly. And the emphasis on, like, the 29-minute guided tour, described as storytelling history comedy, sounds incredibly appealing.
Yeah.
It's not just about looking at objects behind glass. It's about hearing, like, the human stories connected to them.
Yeah.
And the ticket price seems very reasonable. And the repeated advice to book in advance really underscores its popularity.
It's very popular.
And for any U2 fans, the dedicated exhibit is a fantastic bonus.
Oh, nice.
You know, highlighting Dublin's influence on the music world.
Right. All right. So from personal histories to national passions, you can't really understand Irish culture without experiencing Gaelic football and hurling.
Oh, yeah.
And Croke Park is the iconic stadium where these sports come to life.
For those who might not be familiar, Gaelic football is this dynamic sport that combines elements of soccer and rugby, while hurling is an incredibly fast-paced traditional Irish game, often compared to lacrosse.
Gotcha.
The atmosphere at Croke Park on a match day, with its massive 82,300 capacity, must be absolutely electric.
I bet. Have you ever experienced a match there?
I haven't personally, but everyone I know who has talks about like the incredible energy and the passion of the crowd.
I can imagine.
The source rightly points out that you need to check the schedule to catch a match.
Right.
But it sounds like an experience that truly immerses you in Irish sporting culture.
Yeah.
And for those visiting when there isn't a game on, the Skyline Tour offering panoramic views from the stadium roof.
Oh, cool.
Sounds like a fantastic alternative way to appreciate the venue and the city skyline. And definitely heed the advice to get tickets early for big games.
Right.
They're clearly hot commodities.
They are.
It's about tapping into those local passions and experiencing like a truly authentic part of Irish life.
I agree. Now let's consider venturing a little outside the immediate city center.
Okay.
The idea of a Wild Atlantic Way day trip from Dublin might seem ambitious at first.
It does. When you hear Wild Atlantic Way, you probably picture that long, winding coastal road stretching down the west coast.
Right.
It is a bit of a distance.
Yeah.
Officially, it starts way up in County Donegal and winds its way down to County Cork.
Wow.
A staggering 1,553 miles of coastline.
That's so much. So how feasible is a day trip from Dublin, and like what parts of the route would you typically see?
Day tours from Dublin to the Wild Atlantic Way typically focus on the southern end of the route.
Okay.
That's more accessible, hitting some of the major highlights.
Yeah.
Like the dramatic cliffs of Moher.
Oh, wow.
The unique Burren National Park with its karst landscape.
Okay.
The picturesque Dumgore Castle, and often including a stop in the vibrant city of Galway.
Wow.
It's a chance to witness some truly stunning Irish scenery.
Yeah.
Even if you're based in Dublin.
That's great.
And the travel tips are particularly important for this kind of excursion.
Right.
Trying to get a window seat on the left side of the bus heading west to fully appreciate those coastal views.
Yeah.
And crucially, packing a rain jacket because the weather along the Atlantic coast can change very quickly.
For sure. Okay, so finally, for something a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
And perhaps a way to like digest all the sightseeing. A stroll along the River Liffey seems like a lovely option.
It does.
It cuts right through the heart of Dublin, offering a different perspective on many of the landmarks we've discussed.
Right. It's a fantastic way to orient yourself and see the city from a different angle, especially along like the suggested 3.5-mile Liffey walk.
Okay.
From Sean Houston Bridge all the way to Dublin Bay.
Wow.
Crossing those 17 bridges.
That's amazing.
Each bridge has its own character and history.
Yeah.
And the recommendation to walk at sunset sounds particularly appealing.
I bet.
With the city lights starting to twinkle and reflecting on the water.
Yeah.
It must create like a really magical atmosphere.
It does. And of course, no Liffey stroll would be complete.
Right.
Without pausing to take a photo on the iconic Halfpenny Bridge.
Of course.
Especially like as the evening light hits it.
Yes.
It's one of those like quintessential Dublin images.
It is.
That captures the city's charm.
So as we conclude our deep dive into Dublin, it's clear that the city offers like a truly remarkable range of experiences for every type of traveler.
It does.
From the historical significance of Dublin Castle and St. Patrick's Cathedral to the lively buzz of the Guinness Storehouse and the sporting passion at Croke Park. And then these wonderful unexpected finds like the Iva Gardens and the Hungry Tree. There really is something to capture everyone's imagination.
Absolutely. Whether your interests lie in art and culture, history and architecture, discovering unique natural spots, or immersing yourself in the energy of live sports, Dublin seems to have it all.
It does.
It's a city that rewards both like the carefully planned itinerary and the spontaneous detour.
And so the final thought for you, our listener, is this.
Okay.
With so many facets of Dublin, to explore which of these possibilities sparks the most intrigue for you. What hidden corners or untold stories do you now feel inspired to seek out?
Yeah.
This deep dive is just the starting point.
Right.
The real adventure begins when you follow your own curiosity and delve deeper into the Dublin that calls to you.
That's great.